Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Now, we all love a good laugh, right? But sometimes, the world is full of facts that, well, let's just say they aren't exactly the kind of thing you joke about at a party. In fact, they're pretty unsettling. So today, we're diving into facts that are not funny. Things that might make you think twice before laughing again. Let's get into it. First up, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. You've probably heard of it, but here's the harsh reality. This patch isn't just a tiny island of trash. It's a massive area in the Pacific Ocean, about twice the size of Texas, and it's full of plastic waste. We're talking plastic bottles, plastic bags, microplastics, you name it, it's probably floating around in there. And here's the kicker. Most of it is nearly invisible from the surface because it's tiny plastic particles floating under the water. It's like a plastic soup that stretches for miles and miles, and it's not just unsightly, it's downright dangerous. This plastic garbage patch is a major threat to marine life. Sea turtles mistake plastic bags for jellyfish and eat them, only to die a slow and painful death from starvation because their stomachs are full of plastic. Birds get tangled in plastic fishing nets and drown. And the microplastics? They end up in the food chain, eventually making their way to us. It's a problem that's slowly choking marine life, and honestly, it's not the kind of thing you can laugh off. We need to take action to reduce our plastic consumption and clean up the mess we've made. Every little bit helps. We're in the sixth mass extinction. This isn't sci-fi, this is reality. Species are vanishing 1,000 times faster than normal, 1,000 times faster. Instead of new creatures, we're losing them forever. And it's our fault, humans. From rainforest destruction to climate change, we're driving this extinction. Clearing forests, polluting and emitting greenhouse gases. It's like a giant game of Jenga with the planet. It's not just about cute animals, it's ecosystems everywhere. Every species plays a role in nature's balance. One species' loss affects the entire ecosystem, yet we often ignore it. We forget we share this planet with millions of species. We have a responsibility to protect them. It's a heavy fact. We need to wake up before it's too late. We must change how we live and treat the planet. The future of life on Earth depends on it. Okay, this one is super creepy. Did you know your phone could be watching you? It's true. While most of us don't think twice about granting apps access to our cameras and microphones, some apps collect data and could potentially be tracking your movements or even recording conversations. Think about it. Your phone might be the most private thing in your life, but also your biggest spy. It knows where you go, who you talk to, what you buy, what you read, what you watch. It's like having a little black box that records your every move. And it's not just the apps themselves that are collecting your data. Advertisers are constantly tracking your online activity, building up detailed profiles of your interests and habits so they can target you with personalized ads. It's enough to make you want to throw your phone in the ocean. But please don't do that. Remember the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Now, I'm not saying that you should never use your phone or download an app again, but it's important to be aware of the potential privacy risks and to take steps to protect yourself. Read the terms and conditions before you grant an app access to your camera or microphone. Be mindful of the information you share online and consider using privacy-focused apps and services. Not funny, right? It's enough to make you paranoid. But hey, maybe a little paranoia is good for us in the digital age. It might just be what we need to start taking our privacy seriously. Let's take a deep breath. Well, actually, we might not be able to for much longer. The world's oceans are running out of oxygen. The combination of climate change and pollution is depleting oxygen levels in our oceans, which affects marine life. The ocean is like a giant lung, absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and releasing oxygen. But as we pump more and more carbon dioxide into the air, the ocean is absorbing more of it, leading to ocean acidification. This acidification makes it harder for marine creatures to breathe and can even dissolve their shells. At the same time, pollution from agricultural runoff, sewage, and industrial waste is fueling massive algal blooms. These blooms consume vast amounts of oxygen, creating dead zones where marine life cannot survive. And if that continues, it's not just the fish and sea creatures that'll suffer, it could impact the global food chain. Millions of people around the world rely on seafood as a primary source of protein. If the ocean can no longer support life, it will have devastating consequences for human populations as well. So yeah, not funny if you like breathing, huh? We need to reduce our carbon emissions, clean up our waterways, and protect our oceans. The future of life on Earth, including our own, depends on it. Chapter 5. The amount of food wasted worldwide. Here's a gut-wrenching fact. Around 1/3 of all food produced worldwide gets wasted every single year. That's about 1.3 billion tons of food thrown away. That's enough food to feed every hungry person on the planet several times over, and yet here we are, throwing away perfectly good food while millions go hungry. Think about all the resources that go into producing food: the land, the water, the energy, the labor, and then think about all that going to waste. It's not just a moral travesty, it's an environmental disaster. Food waste is a major contributor to climate change, deforestation, and water pollution. Meanwhile, millions of people around the world are starving. Children are going to bed hungry every night. Families are struggling to put food on the table. And it's not because there isn't enough food to go around. It's because of poverty, inequality, and a broken food system. How is that for irony? We have more than enough food to feed everyone on the planet, and yet we waste 1/3 of it. It's definitely not a laughing matter, and it's something we should all be trying to fix. If you ever wonder if you should throw away that leftover pizza, well, now you know the impact. Think about the resources that went into producing that pizza, and think about the people who are going without. Compost your food scraps, donate to food banks, and only buy what you need. Every little bit helps. Chapter 6. There are more slaves in the world than ever before. Here's a fact that's beyond unsettling. There are more people living in slavery today than at any point in human history. Over 40 million people worldwide are subjected to forced labor, human trafficking, and other forms of modern slavery. That's more people than the entire population of Canada. It's easy to think of slavery as a relic of the past, something that ended with the abolition movement. But the reality is that slavery is alive and well in the 21st century. It's happening in every corner of the globe, often hidden in plain sight. People are trafficked for sex, forced to work in factories and fields, and trapped in domestic servitude. They are denied their freedom, their dignity, and their basic human rights. It's a reality that we often overlook, but it's not a funny subject at all. We can't afford to ignore it. We need to raise awareness, support organizations working to combat slavery, and hold businesses accountable for their supply chains. Every time you buy something on sale, consider the possibility of who might have been forced to make it. Was it a child working in a sweatshop, a woman trafficked into forced labor? We need to be more conscious consumers and demand ethical sourcing practices from the companies we support. Slavery is a stain on humanity, and it's up to all of us to work towards its eradication. Chapter 7. A single teaspoon of honey represents the work of 12 bees. Okay, we're getting back to something a little lighter, but still not funny. A single teaspoon of honey represents the work of 12 bees. That means those little guys have to visit thousands of flowers just to produce that tiny bit of sweet goodness. Think about the next time you stir a teaspoon of honey into your tea, or spread it on your toast. That's the life's work of a dozen bees right there. Bees are incredible creatures. They're responsible for pollinating 1/3 of the food we eat, including fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Without bees, our diets would be a lot less diverse and a lot less delicious. Bees are also dying off at an alarming rate due to pesticides, climate change, and habitat loss. These threats are disrupting bee colonies and making it harder for them to survive. So next time you enjoy some honey, just think about the bees and how much work they're doing for you, and think about what you can do to help protect them. Plant bee-friendly flowers in your garden, avoid using pesticides, and support beekeepers in your local community. Every little bit helps. So there you have it. Facts that are definitely not funny. It's easy to get lost in the lighter side of life, but sometimes we need to face the reality of the world around us. These facts remind us that there's still a lot of work to be done and we can't just laugh everything off. But hey, awareness is the first step to change, right? Thanks for tuning in, and if you want to learn more about how we can help make a difference in these areas, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and take care of our world.